one I want to show you is a spray bottle. These are little spray bottles I got at Sally's Beauty Salon materials for where beauticians go and get their supplies. And you can buy little clear fresh bottles. These are $1.39 a piece. And I have ink in these. And I've got 6 of them, and they're for spraying. So what you do is you take your paper that you're going to use, and you take a roll of tape. Now, I'm going to have a little problem here because I got my gloves on, so let me take my gloves off. And roll up the tape, and then use one of these uprights to tape this on. All right? So now your upright is taped, or your design is taped. There's a couple of things you can do. You all remember as a child, you take a piece of paper and you fold it in half, and you take a scissors and you maybe cut out a Christmas tree, or something like that. Some symmetrical design that you cut on the fold. I'm just going to cut a design here. I'm going to cut a pointy design. I'm going to cut a round design. And I'm going to cut a straight design and rectangle. And so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. So now I have what we'll call a stencil. Okay. I'm going to take a couple of pieces of tape and put it on the stencil. And I'm going to stencil this, or I'm going to tape this up to the paper that I want this to go on to. Now let's see, how about a little red here? I'll take a little red, and I might want to practice on another piece of paper first to kind of get an idea of how this is going to spray. All right, so I get a little idea how it's going to spray, and then I spray it. Now, I could use that stencil again if I wanted to. This is kind of curled up here a little bit. But I want to show you that this is basically the idea of the airbrush class. This is what they learn how to do. They learn how to cut stencils so they can spray onto them and create their design. Of course, they don't have a great, big old spray bottle like this. They've got a perfect little airbrush. But that's the idea. Now, I've got a positive shape here that I cut out. And so I can use both positive and negative shapes for the same purpose. And particularly if I want to sort of combine the shapes in some way and leave part of one showing, let's say I just put it up here like this and take another color, let's say yellow, and spray it. So now I have sprayed both positive shape and a negative shape. All right? See that? How that works? There's also a possibility that, let's say, you wanted to this was one I did last period. Okay? Let's say you wanted to take this and make a shape that you didn't cut out. Let's just say you want to make a shape that you're just going to tear. So let's take a piece of paper and let's tear a shape. Let's say I want nice rough edges, and I want like a landscape. I'm going to do a landscape, and I'm going to do this landscape with a sky. So take a couple pieces of tape, them down. That's where I want the sky, about right there. Okay, so I'm going to put this in place. And it's going to be a night sky. So I did a little black. And when I remove the stencil, do that with my gloves on here. I now have the beginnings of a landscape with a night sky. Okay? That could be a blue sky. Although, when you're using your blue, it's going to be a purple sky. But you could do it the opposite way. You want it green, you want brown, we've got that. I have one here from last period class, and this is what it looked like. Now, you see those blotches? Well, I'm sorry about that. That's just these, I mean, these are $1.39 sprayers, right? They're not $80 sprayers that you get at the airbrush store. Okay. This brings up another thing. When you're using your tape, be very careful if you're using it when you have your gloves on. Because guess what? It does not want to let go of this glove. And so, if you play with it too long, like I am here, best take off your glove and remove it then with your fingers so that you don't tear the glove. If you accidentally tear the glove, I got other gloves. Alright? But I'd really rather you wash them off in the sink with your hands in them, dry them off on the towel over here, and then put them back into your plastic Ziploc bag that you have your other tools in. Okay? So then, even though I've got hundreds of them, literally I've got 500 of them, and I'm only going to use 140 of them for my classes. But it'd only take us about 3 days before I'd be out if you threw these away every day. Okay? So I'll replace them as they need to be replaced. But please try to take care of them. Okay. The only thing I can think of to say is be sure that when you use these, that you remember where the caps are. Don't bring them back up here without. And work on your own. And I say that because now you're using a system for delivery that has a possibility of harming someone else. You've got somebody else standing here next to you, and you're both playing around, and you're spraying, and then you do this, and all of a sudden this guy next to you has permanent dye on their clothes that is never going to be removed. So I want you to be very, very careful when you're using this. Don't act like you're playing around. This is not a playground activity. Okay? All right. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Go ahead. Let's get your stuff out.